Hey y'all, welcome to the Filling Station. It's a new day, another opportunity to either make money in this market or to just learn from the market. But first, let me give my disclaimer, y'all. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth. And yes, the stock market is just one of those ways. So this video is for educational purposes only, but if you could please like, share, comment, subscribe. Y'all, we learn and we grow together. With that being said, let's get started. We are looking at the SPY, and as you can see, we closed here, y'all, at 617.65. We've made a pre-market high of 619.75. So I always say, where are the trouble places? It seems like we have now gotten under this 617.91. The 5 and 50 on this 30-minute chart looks as if it's trying to cross to the downside. Definitely need to be careful. So let's look back to the upside. So if by chance we get back above this level here, let's say here at the 618.25, should we break that, we could possibly have trouble around the 618.50, not very far away, because that's where most of the bodies of these candles here are. Now, if we should break that 618.86 and again 619.05, breaking that 619.25, and if we should break that, we could ATR trail and stop is forming here at this 619.75 area. Now again, I did mention the 5 and 50 is crossing here on this 30-minute chart to the downside. Can we continue to the downside? Now, for some reason, price held us up here around the 617.39, right? And should we break this area, we could very well come back to around 617.05, which is not far from the support line that I have at 616.87. Now, we see that price was at this 616 area here. Now, should we break that, we could very well come back to around the 616.50 and breaking that 616.33. Should we break that level for the SPY, 615.93, and breaking that, we can come back to around 615.41, breaking the 615.41, 615.02, which is not far from the 200 EMA at the 614.97. However, breaking that brings us back to around the 614.66, and again 614.39. breaking that, we can come back to the 613.81 and find support there. If we lose that area of support around the 613.23. Now, the SPY is an inside day candle and I like to give the trigger for those, and we have already reached that target to the upside. Does not mean we cannot find support here and go back to that area. So I wanted to point that out. The trigger to the upside was at the 618.86 and the target was 619.25, and again, we've made a pre-market high of the 619.75. So back to the downside, if by chance the SPY break under the 615.41, the downside target for today with the SPY is 615.02. Again, not financial advice. If the SPY is something that you trade, I say mark your levels and trade carefully, y'all. So we are now looking at Tesla, and I say it so often, Tesla does what Tesla does. We closed at $300.71, and as you can see, we've been kind of like trading in this zone, moving sideways for a while here, right? So where are the trouble places? As of now, this level of 302.79 was our, support. It's now a resistance area, kind of like torn in between, right? So let's say if we get back above the 603.29, we could possibly have trouble again at 60. I keep saying the 6. I guess I was still speaking on the SPY. Let me rephrase that for Tesla. So 302.79 was an area that, we need to get back above that. Should we break that 303.29 and breaking that 304.29, and if we should break that area for Tesla, 305.54, breaking that 306.75 and breaking that, you see there's a few layers of resistance here for Tesla at this area. Let's say the 306.75 up to the 307.34. That could be some trouble right there for Tesla. Breaking that means we broke through several layers of resistance, let's say it that way, right? And if we should break that area, we could possibly have trouble again here at around 308.47, 309.05, again 310.07, and breaking that 311.50. Now, if we break that 311.50, 312.11, not very far away, we could still have trouble there. There's a lot of trouble for Tesla, in those areas, meaning we've been stopped out, or, it's been a support or resistance area for us before. So if we should break this level of 612.11, I have around 612.82 and breaking that 613.45. However, the 200 EMA on this 30-minute chart as of now around the 313.93. Now let's look at to the downside for Tesla, because y'all know I say in this market anything is possible, right? So if by chance we break under this level of 302.26, and I kind of want to mark that, because if you see on this line, price has just been coming back to that. There's going to be a few points to touch this line here. So I need to remember this level of 302 here, 302.30. Around this area, prices touched this 1, 2, almost 3, 4, 5. We've been at this place, so we definitely need to watch that for Tesla. Should we, lose this level, we could very well come back to this area, 301.68, and breaking that 301.12. If we break that 301.12, we can come back to $300.22, breaking that level to 299.75. Now breaking that 299.75, I need to mark this area here. As we see here, price has been gathered. Something stopped us in this area or held us up in this area here around the 298.50. So breaking that 298.50, I need to get that off. If we break that 298.50 for Tesla, we could very well continue to the downside. I need to remove that line. Okay, so I'm having some technical difficulties. It's okay, we move on, right? So under 298.50, we could very well find support again, 297.59. Again here at this 296.03, breaking that 296.03 area for Tesla, we can come back to 294.95, and breaking that, come back and retest the 293.50. Should we break that 293.50, the low of this candle yesterday was at the 293.21. So if Tesla breaks this area this time, we could very well continue to the downside. Next level 292.72, and then under that 291.11. breaking that brings us back to around the 289.73 and the 288.81. So what do I see for Tesla? I just say trade carefully, mark your levels, and once it goes against your why, I say so often, y'all, get out, live to trade another day. Why? Because the stock has been moving really interesting. So be very, very careful. So let's see where AMD is today. We closed at 136.11. As you can see, we found a zone. We're back to this trading zone again. Support is around the 134.54. Resistance was here at 136.58. That was our zone. Back to the upside. If we should break back above this 136.58, we could possibly have trouble again. 137.11. Y'all see the 50 EMA, the ATR trailing stop, and the level here I have marked at the 137.23. That's going to be a strong resistance area, in my opinion, for AMD. Again, not financial advice. However, breaking that 137.23, we could very well come back to around 137.70 and breaking that 138.14, breaking that level 138.60, and again here at 139.11. Now breaking the 139.11, 139.54 is not far from that 200 EMA at the 139.62. So those are possible rejection areas or resistance places for AMD as of now. And y'all know I say in this market anything is possible. Now under 135.54, we could very well come back to around this 135.12 here. I like to mark those places where price stopped. We stopped in this area for a reason, right? Breaking that 135.12, we can come back to around the 134.15, breaking that 133.81. And should we lose that area of support, 132.97, and under that 132.97, I have 132.60, and again here at 132.08. Now if we break that 132.08, the next level is 131.14. So if AMD is something that you trade, I say so often, y'all, trade carefully, and once it goes against your why, get out. Have the discipline to get out. So we are now looking at Meta. We closed at 719.22, and as you can see, we've come down, moved sideways, tried to go up, only to come back down just a little bit. So this area here of 717.04 has been a support place for us, right? So I would say that is our support resistance. Again, I look at it on a smaller scale. 718.63. Should we break that area somewhere around 720.21 and breaking that 720.89? Should we break this area of 720.89? The next level I have marked is 722.15, which, as you can see, really close to the 50 EMA, which is at the 722.49. Now, if we break that level, we could possibly have trouble against 723.81 and again 725.46. Breaking the 725.46, that is where the 200 EMA is. That will, we've broken through another level of resistance. We can find trouble again at the 727.77. So those are possible rejection areas for Meta as of now. Back to the downside under 717.04, we could very well have trouble against 715.42. And I'm just coming back here to where price stopped. As you can see, this line that I just drew, price came to this area, so that is our support area. Back to the downside, 715.58. Should we break that area, 714.62, breaking that level brings us back to around the 712.86, and breaking that 712.86, I have 711.27 as the next level of support. However, breaking that 708.27, keep in mind anything can stop. I mean, we could very well get stopped out in between this area to where it find another level of support. So if Meta is something that you trade, y'all know I say so often, trade carefully, mark your levels, and have the discipline to get out when it's time to get out. We are now looking at NVDA. We closed at 153.30. It too kind of looks like Meta's chart, right? So we came down, tried to bounce here, moved up a little bit, got rejected, only to come back to the downside. Looks like we're losing support at this 152.04 area, so that is now our resistance for NVIDIA. So let's look to the downside. If by chance we break under 151.36, that is our next level of support, which we've been here before, here at 151.49. We see it here. So if we lose this area, I have the 151.36, we could very well come back to 149.63. Now that 149.63, y'all see there's a big difference from from this level to this level. We could very well get stopped out in between. So I say trade carefully, right? So if we break under the 149.63, we could very well come back to 148.69, 148.10, 147.34, 146.89. Under the 146.89 area, we can come back to around 146.47. So those are possible support areas for NVIDIA as of now. So let's look back to the upside. If by chance we use this area as a support, let's say that 152.04, we could very well come back to around this area of 152.87. However, we will need to get back above this 5 EMA around the 152.36. So let's say that again, 152.04, 152.36, and again here at 152.87. Those are possible areas that we can get stopped out for NVIDIA. Again, not financial advice. Y'all see it's really close to the 20 EMA. I like to see that. However, breaking that 152, let's say 87 or 90 area, we could possibly have trouble. Again, 153.55 is our ATR trailing stop. We see that. So there's going to be a few layers of resistance here for NVIDIA around the 153.53. This one, let's see, the 50 EMA, 153.82, and again at 153.96. That's going to be kind of like a good resistance area. Breaking that brings us back to around 154.33 and breaking that 154.60, which is our 200 EMA as of right now. So if NVIDIA is something that you trade, y'all know I say so often, trade carefully. In this market, anything is possible. Nothing is guaranteed. So we did have a few inside day candles for today, and I like to give the trigger to that. Just if it break this level, then this is the possible target. Or in BTU, no, charge point, CHPT is the first one on the list, and I don't like to do those because they are under $1. So I was looking at BTU for a reason. Let's go back to that one. BTU is an inside day candle above $13.49. We have an upside target of $13.67. Now to the downside, under $12.77. Downside target is $12.66. So if BTU is something that you traded, is an inside day candle for today, day, and I say trade carefully. So I'm going to go back to this SPY just to see where we are. Looks as if we tried to come down to this level. Y'all see where price bounced off of a level that we had marked right here at the 617.05. The low of this candle here is 617.05, so that is a level that I have marked. So it's important, y'all, that we mark our support and our resistance, and always kind of know where your possible trouble places are, so that when you're getting in the trade, you kind of know where you could have trouble, where your support is, where your resistance is. But the ultimate, you know, is having the discipline to execute your plan when it's time to get in and when it's time to get out. So again, I hope that everyone have a very profitable and a very, very productive day. Again, if you could please like, share, comment, subscribe, y'all. We learn and we grow together. With that being said, be blessed as well as a blessing unto others. Until next time.